Okay, one thing I want to realize the background music is kind of loud. God dog. Let's try it again. Let me see something. Can you hear it? I can't hear it now. The topic, that I wanted to discuss, I had one of the women on the 27th. Um, is procurement. And I wanted to address the issue. I wanted there to be a central issue to be addressed. And that is the effects of urban flight in the city of Jackson. Urban flight is something that's happened to cities all across the country. It has negatively affected the cities, and how that urban flight happened in Jackson in its unique context has its own effect, negative effect as well. 70% of those effects are the same as any other urban area. Jackson, of course, being different in its size and its location, its demographic, where it being in the South. Being a truly deep South city, it's the capital city of Mississippi. And this is unique because you had, a six-figure population, in the city of Jackson up until urban flight takes place, and it goes down in half. Urban flight basically cuts the population of Jackson in half. The interesting thing was that Jackson's urban flight, whereas like other cities, it resulted in that there were young people who were educated, who there were no good jobs, given that they got educated, they got bachelor's and master's degrees, so they moved to cities that were growing: Atlanta, Dallas, Houston, moved up north, California. You had that kind of flight, true enough. But the interesting thing in Jackson also, coupled with this flight, of course, was the, urban to suburban flight. Nothing new there. Very common. Except the issue, the problem is, it did not constitute, it was not because the city of Jackson grew, and so then the suburbs grew. It wasn't like more people moved into Jackson, and so there was less space, residential space, and so you had to have a growth of suburbs, so that people filled up suburbs as opposed to inside the city. What happened was people left the city, and instead of moving, to Dallas, Houston, St. Louis, Atlanta, they moved to Richland, Florence, Star, Flowood, Brandon, Pearl, Clinton, Madison, Richmond, Gluckstadt. And none of those hamlets and towns that I named have a population over 30,000. City of Jackson had 300,000 people. And it were moved out and created these little tiny 3,000, 5,000 population, citylets, tiny places, neighborhoods that I probably would make the mayors and city councilmen mad. But the truth is the truth. I mean, none of them have the economic engine ability because of their size to do any more growing. They're literally just where people decide to move to live. They want to move out of Jackson and move someplace else to seek a different lifestyle. The unique thing was that there were businesses, job creating businesses that moved. that was different into those counties, into Madison and Rankin counties. People don't know like Rankin County movement. Rankin County, their board of supervisors openly threw down a gauntlet against Hines County and said, "Hey, they bought $10 million, whatever. They bought millions of dollars worth of land, cleared it off, ran infrastructure into it. Okay, big difference. Ran power lines and water lines into this industrial district. No, that's what you do. Okay, nothing shocking. It was competitive against Hines County, and then said, hey, if you leave Hines County, come over to Ray County, tax free, 10, 20 years. Okay. Well, that was the direct slap in the face, if you will, competition. I won't say slap, it's called competition. You know, Hines County could have said, oh no, if you stay here, we'll give you a tax break. Hines County did. City of Jackson did. Famous for the hood manufacturing plant in Jackson. And it was turned down for tax break. And so the manufacturing plant left. I think they moved like St. Louis or something. They're still in the United States, but they moved. Anyway, but this urban flight resulted in the minuscule growth of these tiny hamlets bordering on the outside of City of Jackson. Okay. That's what we got in exchange for our urban flight. Was Gluckstadt. Richland, Star, Florence. Hamlets, population 5,000. Okay, so the tax base is now gone, decimated in the city of Jackson. How do you jumpstart an economic engine in the city of Jackson? Okay, that's the question. How do you start waiting on Superman to come fly in and create all these jobs that you're going to need to shore up tax base and create homeowners? Are we going to wait for gentrification? That maybe people who have moved to Star, Mississippi, Richland, Flowood, are they going to move back? They can't. They don't have the economic engine to come up with the money to gentrify Jackson. They're not coming back. They can't. They don't have the money. As cheap as Jackson is, they don't have the economic means. It would take somebody coming from outside Mississippi into Jackson. That could happen. But the people in Star, Mississippi and Star, because they don't have a lot of money. Okay. You're talking about maybe people from Madison, only one area of the urban flight growth, and that's Madison got the money to say, oh, let me come in and spend $500,000 on developing me a little piece of Jackson. Now, it's you do not have that economic wherewithal to come in and do gentrification, do hundreds of millions of dollars of gentrification, for Jackson. Jackson's big. Okay. I don't see. Please, somebody call me, hit me up, tell me something. Where from where? Gluckstadt? They come out of Gluckstadt? That's where they gonna come from? Oh, okay. They're gonna come out of Flowood? And we're gonna gentrify who? What part of Jackson they gentrify? Eastover? Oh no. Okay. somewhere there's got to be a hopefully Jack State or Millsaps. There's a economic professor who studied the numbers. He can say, well, people they can come from here. They'll move back. They'll gentrify out of this area. You may have large corporations. Maybe that might happen. That decide to look at Jackson and go, okay, this is a good area, and that might jumpstart, some gentrification. As if I don't know, Google, Amazon, those type of companies obviously could gentrify. Jack, they come in and say, oh, look at Jackson, we can buy up a whole city, on the cheap. But absent that, I don't see it come back. So how do you create an economic engine? Well, one thing that I know that you have to do, and I tell this to my sister, how do you, what would you do if it was you? Because the challenge was to come up with an answer to that question. And I saw that as a challenge to say, well, what answer? Okay, you don't like the way things are in Jackson. I don't. Well, okay, what would you do? Well, I would create an economic engine to create an economy that will bounce the money around inside the city of Jackson continuously so that there's an economic growth that's sustained, that doesn't allow the money to immediately leave Jackson so quickly like it does. I would create an economic engine that contains money, that keeps it, that it keeps it bouncing around inside the city of Jackson. And it would create, this new economic growth. And a few elements, a few moving pieces to try to keep it as simple as possible. And that is to take the current people who are still in Jackson, take them where they are. That's the principle is meet them where they are. The economic engine is going to be sitting around homeownership. That creating homeowners out of the people who live in Jackson who are currently renting to seek that market share. You have 170,000 actual true residents living inside the city limits of Jackson. I need 20,000 of them. 20,000 of them would change the area, and I could split that up into 4 different areas of 5,000 apiece, just to start these economic engines. Put them in 5 different areas of boroughs, and so 4 different boroughs, I guess, to 25,000 people. In other words, I need less than a quarter of the population living in Jackson, and these are I'm going to do it with working poor, and turn them who are renting, because the rental stock in Jackson is not high class. So it's not. I would turn them into homeowners, and by making a paradigm shift in what constitutes a homeowner, to change that, to bring it on up. It's 21st century. I'm telling you, electric cars are the way it's going to go. Toyota and GM, I believe GM, well, Toyota and Ford are committing the next 20 years, they'll only make electric cars. They're not making gasoline cars. In 20 years, Ford and Toyota are not making gasoline vehicles. That's a paradigm shift. That's going to become the norm. You won't be able to walk into a Toyota or a Ford dealership and buy a gasoline-powered car. Period. Or truck. SUV. Nothing. They will not manufacture gasoline-burning fossil fuel burning automobiles. I'm simply saying the same for housing, what constitutes housing. Had a great discussion once recently about, oh, well, everything you build needs to be a 4-2. I was like, okay, that's the first mistake. Prepare that, because I, you know, was not concerned. Of course, yeah, be 4-2. How about a 4-3? Yeah. Or the famous 3-2. Has to be a 3-2. Okay, has to be a 3-2. And I learned, no, it doesn't. And all actuality, what it needs to be is a 2-2. A 2-2. 2-bedroom, 2 full bath house. That in the beginning, the paradigm shift that I'm going to build is going to be one where single men live in one side and rent the other side out, and they're going to own properties. It's the paradigm shift, and then even put 1 bedrooms in the back, garage apartments, another 2 bedroom, 2 ones, garage apartments in the back of the house, but totally changing the whole complete paradigm. Everything's gonna be even. It's gonna be 2 2s and 3 3s, 3 bedroom, 3 bath, 4 bedroom, 4 bath. Completely changing the whole entire paradigm, mixing the very concept inside Jackson. Because instead of not so much focusing on them being homeowners, which we think of the paradigm of when you say homeowner, you're saying 1 man, 1 woman, 2 babies, 2 kids. Okay. I'm saying no. I'm changing the paradigm to these people who are used to renting. I'm not going to change that. But creating a brand new, and what I simply came up with was a new way to simply build a house. The foundational principle behind this house is that you can't break in. How do people break in? They kick in the back door. You can't kick in the back door in this house. Can't be done. You cannot kick in the back door. Period. Not this house. The house I designed, you cannot kick in the back door. Period. Can't be done. You can't use a crowbar. I will literally be able to offer $1 million. I'll give you a standard sledgehammer. I'll give you a standard crowbar out of Home Depot. I'll let you have a crowbar. I'll let you have a sledgehammer. I'll just say a 15-pound maul with a 2.5-foot handle, and I'll give you a 2-foot-long crowbar. And I'll give you 5 minutes to break into my house. Okay, if you can break in 5 minutes, you can have $1 million. I'm gonna have $1 million sitting inside the house, $100,000 cash sitting inside the house. You break in, you can get the money's yours. You're not gonna be able to break inside of 5 minutes. I mean physical breaking. I don't mean there's an alarm system that goes off and the police get alerted and the police get there in 5 minutes. I'm saying you will not be able to break in. Period. Inside 5 minutes. That a sledgehammer and a crowbar is not going to get it. You can't get it. As a matter of fact, it's a trick. It's going to be a trick challenge. Because when you look at my house and you look in your hand, you realize this ain't you. Just about to throw it around because you're not going to be able to get in. You're not going to be able to get in. You can do damage, but you're not breaking in. Okay. That's the concept. 2 is the house can be built inside 5 days. 3 takes only 5 people to set up the structure of the home, put the home together. 4 total cost finished home, turnkey, switch ready, $100,000. Of a 3 bedroom, 3 bath house, 3 bedroom, 3 full bath. The full bathroom is the key. That's the key. The size of the bedrooms, key. All of these are king bedroom size bedrooms. All of them have double closets. The concept is around being able to rent out those rooms, meaning I can get $150,000 for the house easily because it's going to be 3 payers, 3 people paying rent in the 3. Yeah, this will be based on 3 incomes. So 3 people paying $750 a month. It's $2,000 a month. that's more than enough to afford a $150,000 mortgage. You change the paradigm of this and understand this. This is creating an economic engine. Okay, because this is going to be a brand new house with enclosed garage for these people. 3-car garage with a garage apartment in the back. So even more space that can be rented out again. Enclosed garage. You close your garage, put your car in, and close it up, shut it up, lock it. Burglar alarm system, security system, and I think I might even try to figure out a way to inexpensive put in a gate, a click it, to pull into the back to your park your car. Added security. The reason why is because I want a gate for people because most folks don't have a dog. And you gotta have a fence for your dog. You put that in and that little because you let me. You can't kick in my back door to begin with, and then I got a dog back there too. You got 5 minutes to get past my dog and kick my back door in, because if you break in the window, you're not gonna be able to get out the door. You say, "Oh, I'll break in through the window." Okay, break in through the window. How you gonna get the flash? You gotta be able to steal stuff out. Because I'm gonna have $100,000 in a box the size of a flat screen, so you can't leave out with the money through the window because the windows is too small. You can't get out. You're not gonna be able to get out. You're not gonna be able to break in and steal $100,000. It's not gonna be possible. Because you still can't get out the door. The door is still locked. You don't have a key to unlock the door. You couldn't break in the door. Now you can't break out. So what if you break in through my window? It don't matter. You can't get the flat screen out. You can't get the money out. And so that alone, paradigm shift on the house in terms of where I put it. Okay, I've now been able to put this house in a high crime area because you can't break in the house. You can't break in the house. You can't break in the house. You can tear the house down, maybe, get a grenade launcher, some dynamite. But you can't kick in the back door. You can't use a sledgehammer and a crowbar. That's not going to get you in to the house. You can rent and live in a brand new home, clean home. The economy around new home ownership, building new homes, creates paradigm. When you change the culture, when you change, and now you got people living, and you change how they live, and you change that paradigm, and you created 20,000 of these houses, okay, you're showing up a tax base and simply changing the financial concept, the financing concept changes, which I have an idea for that. And by changing the financing concept of it away from what didn't work with the judicial mortgages, because of the monopoly on mortgages of banks that do mortgages, which is a monopoly now. When you change that out and you go around them, you create a new financial economy when you finance these houses. That was an issue, around trying to cut down. That was an idea around doing something for the City of Jackson. Now then, fast forward to what the webinar is about. It's about procurement, and the webinar. The idea of the purpose was that during the pandemic, there were people who had businesses who had been in business for a while, but simply their business wasn't structured properly to where they qualified for the documentation that was needed to qualify for the PPP. They didn't have the tax documentation. They operated outside of that documentation guideline, IRS. And the IRS is the format. Well, if people who are black actually were certified minority contractors, they would have automatically already had the paper together. And they simply needed a financial institution that they were connected to, a bank that they needed to be connected to and have a relationship with. So it wasn't a matter of just, our people are unbanked. Well, our people are unbanked and they don't have business banking relationships with the banks. They don't have business checking accounts, and they don't have a relationship with the business loan officer of their banks. That was the issue. That was the problem, and we solved that problem in creating business owners, because these entrepreneurs, if we create them and we provide them that avenue, then we have these new homeowners, these new entrepreneur homeowners. Okay, and then finally, the last piece is the federal and state governments have done a wonderful job through legislation of turning almost the entire city of Jackson into a hub zone, historically utilized business zone, and an opportunity zone, President's executive order opportunity zone that basically mandates all the different departments of the administration, all of them, to, with all deliberate speed, do everything possible to win a city or any group of businessmen, business leaders in a city, develop a particular plan. If you can write down a plan of what you want and what you need, those particular different departments, housing, what have you, welfare, human services, who have resources, if you can tell them, what you want, then that executive order of the opportunity zone requires all those different departments under, the Trump administration to do everything possible in compliance with that particular plan in your urban area. And it's very clear that this is urban areas. So being able to take advantage of hub zones by being a DBE, disadvantaged business entity, getting that certification, getting your state's 8A certification as well. And then taking advantage of the hub zone and opportunity zones, which the opportunity zone allows for tax breaks, unforeseen, 10 years of capital gains abatement. That combination would allow the creation of your entrepreneurs and to draw in businesses and the creation of these new businesses around all these different dynamics around home building, home owning, manufacturing, job creation, patents on new products. All of these are things that will allow for the creation of an economy that if you take 5, then 10, then 15, then 20,000 people in the city, you now create an economy that will be sustainable. Thank you.